of the City Council of Coldwater, Michigan to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Rissman. Present. Councilmember Mackin is absent. Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Knapp.
Here.
Councilmember Houts.
Here.
Councilmember Hazelbaker.
Here.
It appears Councilmember Petsko is absent. Councilmember Beckwith.
Here.
And Mayor Kramer.
I am here. We look for a motion to excuse Councilmen Petsko and Mackin.
Motion. Support.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Chad. We have a motion to excuse them. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? They are excused. Just a point of information, if any of you are here, we have a budget session after this meeting, but tonight we will not be talking about major projects. We'll only be talking about the fiscal year 25-26 budget. So major projects including the US 12 corridor, parking lots, other major projects will be discussed at a future meeting to be announced. So it will not be on the agenda or discussed tonight, just so you know that. We have a spot on our agenda now for public comments, and we have another spot at the end of the meeting. So if anyone would like to address the council, they may do so now or at the end of the meeting. Seeing none, we'll move to our consent agenda. These are items we consider to be routine. We'll take them in one motion unless someone in the audience or someone in the council wishes an item removed for further clarification. Tonight, we've got our minutes of March 31st. DDA minutes of February 26th, Planning Commission minutes of March 3rd, Library Advisory minutes of March 3rd, our Public Housing Commission minutes of March 11th, our BPU minutes of March 5th, South Central Power Agency minutes of February 6th, our BPU financial statements for February of 25, City of Coldwater financial statements for February of 25, and an Arbor Day proclamation. And finally, a memo from me regarding some board appointments. Those are the items on our consent agenda. Would anyone in the audience like anything removed for clarification? Anybody up here? Approve that?
So moved.
Thank you, Randall.
Support.
Scott, thank you. We have a motion, we have support to approve our consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Number 12, bills and accounts. We're being asked to approve $158,572. Details are posted on the web for us or anyone to look at. Tom is here, Keith is here. Any questions from council about the bills? Not.
The two largest items are just the monthly garbage service through Republic and life and disability insurance payments. So those are two of the larger items on what is otherwise a smaller list this month.
Move to approve the bills.
Thanks, Michael.
Support.
Thanks, Chad. We have motion and support to pay our bills. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Bills are paid. Number 13, city manager report. Keith.
Thank you, Your Honor, Council. Good evening, everyone. I know we have a long agenda and a number of things to cover, so I'll try to get through this quickly. The first item on my city manager's report are a number of code enforcement spring reminders. I won't go through all of them. I publish it purposely so that the paper picks them up. And these are things that are also identified in our calendar. They're identified online and different places in which you can access this information. But the do's and don'ts and what to do with your property relative to maintenance, particularly in the spring, but through the course of the year. And two that I would point out, we did complete the first month of brush pickup last week. So we asked people not to put out brush again till the end of the month before the next first Monday of May. So that's our next brush pickup period is the first Monday of May. And then secondly, we did have someone I know have an instance of burning yard waste in the community this weekend. And just a reminder that burning of yard waste and brush is not permitted in the city. Relative to events in the community, Walk a Mile is coming up. That's the 15th annual event, Walk a Mile in Their Shoes, fundraising for the Branch County Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. That's coming up on Saturday, April 26th. That's taking place down at South Monroe Street event space. And so we just encourage persons to participate in that event. Lots of activities, the 5K run, walk, pancake breakfast, and other activities. On the employee-related side, we want to recognize 3 new firefighters that have joined our ranks as paid firefighters with the City of Coldwater. Drew Ennis, Rob Briggs, and Nick Galliers have all successfully obtained their Firefighter 1 and Firefighter 2 certifications. So we'd like to congratulate them and thank them for their service and welcome them aboard during their probationary period with the city as part-paid firefighters. Another couple events coming up later this spring is the city is seeking vendors or continues to seek vendors for Strawberry Fest, which is Saturday, June 21st. So only a couple months away now. And that'll also be held downtown. Registration deadline is June 1st to avoid a late fee. And I know not everyone looks forward to this, but we do have hydrant flushing. The spring hydrant flushing is next week, April 21st. So staff, BPU staff will be out 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Through the course of next week, working their way through all 4 wards of the city, flushing hydrants, and that there may be temporary discoloration, and we just ask to run your water if you experience that, and any questions can be directed to the city, our customer service staff. Couple other updates. We're promoting an Earth Day cleanup event, both for city parks and downtown. Persons can register for that online. That's going to take place on Thursday, April 24th, with a rain date of April 25th. So encouraging people to help us out and also help the community out. You can even do it within your own neighborhood or within your own property or commercial area, but just encouraging people to get out and help clean up the community. The organized events will be for the parks on that morning of April 24th and for downtown that afternoon. And the details are in the manager's report for all the times, who to contact to register. And if you participate around lunch, you get lunch. And if you participate in the evening for downtown, we're thankful to Broadway Grill for sponsoring a volunteer pizza buffet is what it's been in the past. So thank you to Broadway Grill for sponsoring that. In addition to Earth Day cleanups, there's always opportunities for community groups or individuals to volunteer. There's never enough time for as much staff as we have, never enough time to get everything done or do as much as we'd like to at times. And so we're always working with community groups, different businesses and organizations that plan their volunteer days. And so we'd like to raise our hand and suggest that if they're looking for volunteer opportunities, that we have those as well to work with the city on any number of types of projects throughout the community. And just a couple project updates. The asbestos remediation is, I wrote this as being complete, but they're coming back to do a little bit more. And demolition on the buildings as part of the Rotary Park renovation will begin shortly. We did have an opportunity in which the fire department could train on those buildings, and we're still waiting for some final permitting through MDOT and Eagle as far as that moving forward. Same with South Clay, that building will be moved here shortly. And then lastly, this is a holiday week, and the city offices will be closed on Friday in observance of Good Friday, as has been our tradition. So offices will be closed on Friday. With that, that's my update this evening.
Thank you, Keith. Council, have any questions for Keith, comments? Not a motion to approve the city manager report.
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Scott.
Support.
Thanks, John. We have motion and support. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Number 14, we have a public hearing. It's been a long time in the process. This is a public hearing to approve the brownfield plan for properties located at 6 Amberview Court, 43 Amberview Court, 46 Amberview Court, 136 South Clay, 405 North Shore, 13 Candlewood, 38 Shoshone Pass, and for the property of the proposed Western Meadows site condominium, part of our project to spur single-family lot development and get single-family homes going. We have a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. We'll hear a report from our consultant, Connor Zook, from Tri-Terra, and then we'll take public comments, if there's any public comments. When that's done, we'll close the public hearing and bring discussion up to council level for action. So we will now open the public hearing. Connor, you want to give a brief overview?
Absolutely. Mayor Kramer touched on a lot of it. So in support of the Western Meadows housing project, there's a lot of infrastructure improvements, expanding infrastructure occurring out there. What this plan does is it seeks to capture tax increment revenues on 7 properties. It will be 17 after parcel splits of Western Meadows, to reimburse the city for those infrastructure improvements, which total just over $500,000, 508,000, I believe it was. In short, that's all of it. Mayor Kramer already touched on all the parcels that'll be included in the plan.
Sorry for stealing your thunder, Connor, but
Just to add is as homes are built on those lots and new taxes are generated, the city will be capturing local and county taxes, in which, if this were to be approved, then to pay back for the infrastructure costs of the project. And so it doesn't affect current taxes, or doesn't change the taxes in which, once those homes are built, that those homeowners will be incurring. It just redirects them as proposed in the plan. It's for 7 years, based on what the anticipated value increase would be, to pay that infrastructure cost back.
And to add on top of that, another good point would be it can be amended as if you add more phases of the project and as more infrastructure costs come in.
and as council knows, we've identified 20 to 50 more lots that eventually we could continue to do this again to provide lots for single family homes, which I think council deems we desperately need in this city. So thank you, Connor. We certainly take any public comments on this issue now. This is a public hearing to hear from the public if they have any input on this project. If not, close the public hearing and we will bring we're moving on to 15, right, then for the action. So that's the end of the public hearing. We would then move to item 15, which would actually be to regarding the proposed brownfield plan and establish the TIF district. And our action would be adopt resolution 2535 and approve the plan agreement A2513. But we can certainly talk about this. We've been working on this a long time, but questions, comments, thoughts?
Quick question. Is it normal to take properties that aren't within the immediate area where the infrastructure was built? Like that was just the piece that I thought was a little bit odd, is that you're taking properties that are surrounding it and not necessarily just within the Western Meadows subdivision.
So it is permitted by state act. It's done in that way to cast a large enough net to, as those property, because those homes also, some have since been built within the last year. But with that increased value, it's meant to increase the revenue and shorten the time in which you would have to have those captured to pay the infrastructure costs back. So.
Is it within just like a certain radius makes it allowable?
No, citywide, it could, so any of the properties within the city would have been eligible. These were lots that at the time we were putting the plan together weren't built on yet.
But we knew there were houses planned for us, so we knew there would be tax revenue coming. It just shortens the time that we can pay back the money is what it does. It's allowable, and it seemed to make sense. Instead of going 12 or 15 years to recoup our money to do the next phase, we get it back in 7 or 8. But that's the thought process. Any other questions?
Yep, so with it being reduced to 7 to 8, that then means it stops. So then the tax
Yeah.
would then be available to go back to like the schools and stuff. So it's just getting it done quicker.
The school's not captured. The school will
Oh,
be,
okay.
it's just county, city, 911, those things. So the school will not get deprived of
Not
that.
the school.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
Believe the BISD is one of the captured parties, but
Right.
the Coldwater Public is not. Nor are the debt millages for the city or Coldwater are also not captured.
And then we'll be faced with another $500,000 road project, hopefully within the next year to do the next stage. And then hopefully every 2 or 3 years, we'll be funding a little hopscotch and keep moving on. So until eventually we can develop 50, 60 single family lots. That's the plan. This is the first step and it's, I think, very positive. So any other questions for anybody?
I'll make a motion.
You'd,
Ready?
I'll support.
the resolution and approve the agreement specified?
Yes, 25-35 and agreement 25-13.
Okay, thank you, Jim. And second, John was the second. Any other comments? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 16 is a letter from Erica Donahue and Kimberly Feltner, Children's Service Coordinator, Branch County Library, regarding a proposed story walk installation at Waterworks Park.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. So per our letter, we are seeking the final permission to install the second story walk for Coldwater down at Waterworks Park. We have a third location out at Quincy, or second location currently down in Quincy Park. This has been a extremely successful project for us. The Heritage Park location is visited frequently and often by many families. The one request we keep getting is that they wish it was longer. And Waterworks would allow us to almost double the length of a story walk while also reaching another part of the community, including literacy that's bilingual, like we mentioned last time when we presented, as well as just having a fun and unique way for families to get outdoors and read and have fun.
We do have a letter of Altrusa indicating their support, the full financial support for this library project, installing at Waterworks Park, and they'll be working with us as well to help maintain and keep it current and fresh for the public.
Questions for the ladies? Didn't we have one of these at Heritage Park too?
We do.
Actually, in May of 2023 was when we
Right.
approved the Heritage one, so it's about almost 2 years to the month. We're back asking for a second one, please, in the city.
In as much as it's a permanent installation in a city park, we're asking your formal approval.
Questions for them? Action on resolution 2530.
Motion to adopt resolution
Thank you,
25.
Chair.
Support.
Thanks, Michael. Any final questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it. Number 17 is a presentation from Brianna Martin, a senior at Purdue Northwest and CBD intern regarding prevention outreach project.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. With me tonight, I have Brianna Martin, as you said, as an intern at Purdue Northwest. She's been with us at the beginning of the year. She's a senior and getting ready to graduate soon. I had a couple of projects working with the city manager. One of them was, most of you are aware, we had some funding from some opiate money that came to the city as a part of a settlement. I'd kind of come up with a plan and try to discuss what we were going to do with that money. That money is pretty pigeonholed. What you can do, it has to come back to treatment prevention. So I was talking to Brianna and she agreed that she would take on this project for us or help out with it. And so she put together a program here that she's going to go through with you guys real quick. Kind of outline it's an outreach project that we can do in the community. And I will turn that over to her now to go through that.
Overall, this project was created to hit a few key factors. We wanted to increase awareness in the community, a lot more community engagement with the police, positive lasting impacts so that our message can reach the most amount of people, as well as higher involvement of the police in non-criminal settings. Through this proposal, we set up a branded tent, some graphic tees to give out, as well as some stuffed animals in order to reach the highest variety of people. That pop-up tent was aimed for a couple of different things. It's around 6,000, but it's the highest quality materials, comes with weights, dolly, carrying bag, as well as a few other pieces. It has a limited lifetime manufacturing guarantee, and it's going to attract attention, have a clear message while being a safe, welcoming space for the community. There's quotes based on substance abuse awareness on both the tent and the tablecloth. And you can see there it has some police and fire logos in order to attract that attention. This can be used numerous times a year. So while it is a higher price, it's going to be used enough to where it's worth that piece. The graphic tees, we are spending just under 8,000 for 400 shirts in a variety of different sizes. Both designs were approved by the Community Engagement Coordinator, Stephanie Burdick. And this is our first design. Both designs, we wanted to be relatable, that could be worn numerous times. And both of them have the substance abuse hotline on the back in order to make the highest impact. They have substance awareness quotes on one of the sleeves, as well as collaboration with the Branch County Substance Abuse Task Force. So that way we can get that name out there as well. These will allow us to have more community engagement, bringing people in when they see that there is freebies, and it's going to spark conversation in order to allow these discussions to be more spoken and create a more positive impact on getting help for these issues. The stuffed animals can bring in a few other things as well. Brings a positive image for the police, for the younger generations, so they can see that they are quote unquote good guys early on. We also want parental involvement due to the children's curiosity coming up to those tents, as well as a longer lasting impact than a pamphlet. Overall, our impact that we want to show is meaningful engagement throughout the community, public awareness to the substance abuse prevention, the retainment of our message, and a better community relationship with the police. Throughout this program, we were given a little over 15,000 in funds. Only not all of that funding was used, and it leaves just over 12,000 for future projects as well. We're hitting a variety of different audience members so that we have the highest impact, and we have reduced replacement costs due to the higher quality of that tent. That was the summary of my presentation, and I'm open for any questions if you have any.
Nice presentation, Brianna. Questions for Joe or Brianna?
So just to be clear, this was Brianna's report to finalize her internship period. And from this point, Director Scheid and I will look at, what aspects of it to implement. There hasn't been any costs incurred yet, but we appreciate her research on the project in different ways in which we can better utilize or to utilize those funds. Anything else, Joe?
No, I just add, one of the goals that I like to do is try to get more community outreach for my police officers. And I wanted to kind of partake in like the Strawberry Fest, the Apple Fest, the Winter Fest, and to be able to set the tent up and have officers stationed at those types of events. It's a good way for me to have a lot of young officers to meet more people in the community and do some community engagement. So I could figure I kind of juggle two stones there. So that's kind of the goal of the outreach mission. So let's make sure everybody kind of clear on that.
Yeah. Okay, if there are no questions, again, we thank you both very much. Good job. Thank you. Number 18 is a letter from Karen Newman, Branch County Conservation District Manager, regarding a native garden project at Parkhurst Park.
Good evening, everybody. I'm not Karen. I'm Allie Marshall, but I work with Karen here, and I'm a conservationist with the Branch County Conservation District. And we're really excited to be able to ask you tonight for official permission to install a native flower garden in Parkhurst Park. The site that we're looking at, we've talked about with Keith and Bob, and we've met with them. And it was previously just a building, to my knowledge, and has since been torn down. And it's this 30 by 30 square surrounded by sidewalks that's not really being used for anything. So we have plans to install over 20 species, well, install 20 species there, but over 20 plants, obviously, to fill the space. And there's going to be a large educational component of this as well, should you approve it. We intend to have the location be fully utilized by both Max Larson as well as the high school, should they choose to, in an official context or unofficial context, just from kids walking to and from school. And I can go through any official slides if you have questions, but I want to be respectful of your time. So we hope that you will consider it, and we're really excited at the prospect of introducing people to more native flowering plants.
You received a grant for it. You might.
Yes, the money is coming via a grant that is already ready to be spent. So
Is this something they can walk through and look at the signs and the plants, or is it just walk around?
as of right now, we're thinking just walk around because it's only about a 30 by 30 foot square, but we are going to have every plant, well, every species labeled with different facts about them, and those should be visible on all four sides.
How will it be maintained?
That'll be the conservation district, and the beauty of a native garden is that in the beginning you have to maintain it pretty regularly, but they're native plants, they like to be here, and they're gonna establish, and then it will come to a point that it's not going to need regular watering because they're going to be well established. So we have a timeline for the first 3 years that we've established, and we've gone through with Keith and Bob, I believe, from the application that we submitted for the grant that we can definitely share with you should you wish, but it will probably be weekly maintenance for the beginning, and then the intervals will become larger as we see that it's becoming more established.
The questions? Sounds like a nice project. What are your thoughts, council? You're looking
Move
for-
to adopt resolution 2536. I think it's a great project.
Okay, John, thank you.
Support.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, we have motion and support to approve resolution 2536. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, ladies, very much.
Thank you.
So maybe just to give a little context, if you're looking at the park from Parkhurst Drive or Ave, the restroom will be on the left, the shuffleboard is on the right, and the garden will be right in the middle.
Be nice.
Number 19 is a letter from Robert Hawley, our planning zoning administrator, regarding master plan proposed bid award. Robert?
Good evening. Before you, I have a resolution for the request for the city to approve the proposal for the master plan work to be completed by progressive companies for a total of $70,000. A little bit of context, we did receive a grant from the Michigan Michigan State Housing Development Authority for $50,000. Thank you to Aaron Vacies for getting that done for us. We do need to complete this every 5 years for a review. The last time we did it was in 2017, so we are due for that. We did hear 3 firms on March 3rd, and after some deliberation and discussion, that we feel that Progressive Companies is the best fit for our community. So we ask for approval for that recommendation.
Michael, you're involved in that. Any comments?
Yeah, they all gave 3 presentations, and I think most of us all kind of shook our head and were impressed with that particular company.
Okay. Questions for Robert or Mike?
Your Honor, if I may, I would
Sure.
just like to add, as a planner, it has been a couple of years in the works. We did budget for the additional $20,000, so that is in the fiscal year budget. this will be extended into next year now because of the timing. But one of the things about this particular firm that stood out is their work within other communities that had large ethnic populations. And so that was one of the things I think that stood out to me. And as a planner, it's just one of those things that we have to revisit every 5 years or so.
Okay, any other questions? They're looking us to either adopt or not adopt resolution 2522.
Move to adopt resolution 25-22.
Michael?
Support.
Thanks, Jim. We have motion and support. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Master plan bid is awarded. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Number 20, a letter from Aaron Versey, Economic Development Coordinator regarding South Monroe Street Sound System Bid Award. Aaron?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am here to present on Resolution 2531 and seek a little bit of money to cover my overspending.
We won't throw you under the bus.
So I started in the fall at Keith's request to look into a sound system for South Monroe Street. And we had talked to 3 different companies, and one declined to bid due to scheduling. The other was Sweetwater's out of Fort Wayne. Their bid came back, and the equipment that they proposed was a little bit cheaper. The speakers looked like sirens instead of something that fit the aesthetics of Monroe Street. And so talking with Mercury Sound and Lighting, they put in speakers that were actually going to fit in. And then we just kind of snowballed out of there, and I got to, having a wireless microphone and then access points at both ends of Monroe so we can have people hook up at either end if necessary. And then we talked about also adding speakers in Tibbetts Plaza. So there's the speaker up there now. And so what we're going to do, if approved, and there's the layout of the speakers. So there's going to be speakers on the right side or east side, and there will be 2 on each pole to spread it out. But then there's also going to be one to start in Tibbetts Plaza. So for festivals and events and such, you'll have announcements and sound over there as well. And then eventually we can add to the islands in Tibbetts Plaza to expand over there.
Scroll down just a little bit more, the other half of it.
There you go. There's the rest of it. So see the turquoise is that first island there right across. We originally were going to do it on the lamppost there, but to bore and get into that lamppost was way more money than we want to talk about. So we're going to do that there.
So I'll just add that what did start as a project that anticipated would be within my spending authority, exceeded that by the end.
Yes.
So we did, as Aaron noted, did seek 3 bids, both in the quality and the amount of features are proposing to go with the bid that's recommended. And in the amount that is presented, we have amended the budget at the January budget amendments. We did amend the budget to allow for this. And so it is in the current fiscal year budget, would be something that would be installed in May if approved. And we think it would greatly benefit the activities that are taking place down at South Monroe Street and facilitate sound for any number of those events that take place and be available for those going forward.
Aaron, can you define a little bit, how does it work? I mean, is there a jack that you could
So-
plug into? Is it all wireless?
All of the rack will be installed in the restroom utility closet in there. So there's a custom built rack for us. we will not be responsible for the bands or the musicians. They will still need to have their own sound system and such, but we will be able to have ambient sound. We will be able to make our own announcements. We will be able to do all of those things. We can have bands come in and use our system if we want to, but it's not something that we need to do. It's an extra perk.
If you're doing it, go ahead.
Can they plug in so that they can? I mean, the biggest, I think, knock right now on Hops on Monroe is the fact that you've got the band at the north end of the street.
Yes,
And if you're in the middle or even at the far south, you're not hearing any of the music. It'd be nice to be able to hear.
they can.
I
They-
don't, John, I would, being there all the time, I think the people that are away from the music want to be away from the
I was gonna
music.
say, I'm not sure that's a
Yeah.
negative.
That's, my question was gonna be, can we individually control these speakers?
Yes, we can.
Each one,
Yes, we can.
so we can
Yes, we can.
make one side louder or balance
Yes.
it out.
Yes.
So the advantage that we have is that Aaron has some prior experience in
Yes,
in
my
in
husband
audio
and I,
equipment.
my husband and I own and operate a DJ company, so I have used and worked with these speakers. I've used and worked with this microphone and this company. And so working with these companies and doing the site visits and the walkthroughs, it's been easy to work with all of them. We've either done in-person or virtual site visits with all of them. There is a pre-construction meeting, if approved, next week with our teams here and Mercury. And then if approved, installation should be middle of May.
Explain to me how it's gonna be, if we're not using it for the bands, what
So-
is it gonna be used and what, tell me.
So
how it's
if a
used.
band stops and they're on a set break, we can continue having music playing, so there's not dead air. And if-
Or on nights when there's no band down there,
Correct.
If
If,
we
if
have
something
people
happens and a
eating
band
outside.
can't be there, we can still have music.
Saturday nights.
During festivals, we can have music. We can make announcements. If somebody's child is lost during a festival, we can make announcements. If there's inclement weather coming in during a festival, we can make those announcements. So,
Part of it originally, I think, was that we've had where a band canceled, somebody got in an accident coming up from like Fort Wayne, they got in an
Right.
accident on the freeway, we didn't have music. When you have your bigger festivals, you could play music before the bands and after the bands, or make the announcement
Mhm.
that, you know, the
Yeah.
event is over, we're gonna clean the streets and that type of stuff, so.
Questions for Aaron? Thoughts? You're recommending that we approve the bid to the higher amount for Mercury.
How many RMS watts on the head?
They're
How many-
bid on.
you know,
On the what, say it again?
How many, the amplifier, how many watts is that?
There you go.
I didn't see that.
let me see if I can find it in
I
here.
was a DJ too. Stage manager.
Here.
We are.
Weird. That's coming. I'd say. Channel.
That's all right if you don't have top of your head.
I don't know off the top
Okay.
of my head. It's in the packet in there somewhere.
Hey, what's your pleasure, folks?
Motion, resolution 2530.
Didn't see that coming. Who supported that? John. Okay, we have a motion, we have support. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Aaron.
Thank you.
Now we start the Paul Jakubczak show. We start out with a proposed amendment to agreement A 1624 regarding substation easements. Paul.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council, and I appreciate Aaron taking the brunt of all your questions. So you're probably all done with questions. You won't have any for me, which is perfect. So in March of 2017, the city and the BPU granted an easement to Metsi Michigan Energy Transmission Company for an easement at the Jonesville substation. The Jonesville substation was constructed for Clemens and also to give us another transmission feed in. So one of the things that we're looking at, we went ahead and granted easements for them to put in their infrastructure as well as to bring in the transmission lines going down to the Michigan sub as well as out to the Newton Wagner sub. So recently DTE is proposing a 100 megawatt solar facility. Basically goes a C around the Jonesville area, comes all the way down to Newton and Fisk and rolls up on the east side of the tree line there off of Fisk Road as you're going up north that way. And in order to do that, they need to connect into the transmission system. In order to connect into the transmission system, ITC or METC needs to expand their footprint at Jonesville. In order to do that, they need to go 35 feet south, as well as reconfigure the way that the transmission system comes into that substation. So what is being proposed right here, it's been approved by the CBPU board, is let me find it here. Resolution 25-37, which is agreement A2526 and A2527. If you can go to the drawing on there, Shauna, it's a little easier to understand what the drawing shows. So the first one is to expand the, it's okay, I can explain it.
They're at the end of the, those amendment or the.
Yeah, in the resolution at the bottom.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's the second one, but go ahead.
It should, yeah.
If you go up from that one, if you go up from the DTE one. A little bit,
Almost there.
a little bit.
There we go.
So this is actually the second one. So what they're doing, if you look at that picture in the bottom left corner there, where it says an easement area, that is the change in the easement that we currently have with them. Right now, the current easement goes on the south side of the Jonesville sub property that feeds the transmission in on the east side. They want to eliminate that as they're going through and going south with the substation expansion. We see no reason not to approve this agreement as well too, or this change, as well as the expansion of the DTE or the ITC substation, the 35 feet for the entire width of their fence. By doing this, they're actually adding an additional bus in there, which still gives us an open bus slot in case we ever have to install anything in the future. So it's a win-win for us. It's basically the expansion of the current substation out there. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on this one.
Okay, questions for Paul? They're asking for introduction of resolution and the two agreements.
Move to approve the resolution and the two agreements as presented.
Okay,
Support.
thanks, Scott. Mike, Scott? And you'll be proud, I caught by myself. This has to be a roll call vote. So these two were totally not helpful. So this is a roll call vote whenever the clerk's ready.
Councilmember Risman?
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Houts?
Yes.
Councilmember Hazelbaker?
Yes.
Councilmember Petsko?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer? Councilmember Beckwith?
Yes.
And Mayor Kramer?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, Paul, you're still up.
Thank you. So this gets us through the first step with this ITC expansion. The next step is in order to get DTE's 138 onto the transmission grid, we need to grant an easement to them. They have requested, and if you can bring up drawing or page 11 in their grouping,
Yeah, page 11 is not.
or at least mine showing page 11.
the second resolution at the bottom. Back up to,
DTE easements.
yeah, the DT number 22.
So in order for DTE to connect into this substation, one of the things that they have to do is they've leased and purchased property east of our substation property. They need to grant an easement from their west end of their property over to the east end of the ITC fence. This will allow them to install a single pole along with some additional wiring for them to be able to come across this. This will be a non-exclusive easement so that if we ever need to get underneath there for any reason to get to the ITC bus in the future, we'll still have that ability to do this. All this really does is say, you're allowed to cross our land. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on that. If not, I'd ask for approval of resolution 2538 and agreement 25-28. Both of these were both approved by the CVPU board.
So we'll adopt resolution
Thanks,
25.
Jim. We have motion and support on this one, on the clerk's ready.
Councilmember Risman? Yes. Councilmember Johnson?
Yeah.
Councilmember Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Houts?
Yes.
Councilmember Hazelbaker?
Yes.
Councilmember Petsko?
Yes.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Yes.
And Mayor Kramer.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you,
Thank you.
Paul. Number 23, letter from Keith regarding the 2025 road bond.
Thank you, Your Honor, Council. So subsequent to the November 4th, 2024 election and the passage of a millage to support local road and public infrastructure projects. This is the first resolution in which to establish the use or the seeking or notifying that we're going to be seeking unlimited tax general obligation bonds to conduct that work, which we'll be talking about at a subsequent meeting. But the bond itself would generate approximately $5.1 million in bond proceeds and with an estimated 1.52 mils. And that's what was identified in the bond language in the millage language for the election last November. So we're seeking to move this, taking the first step in establishing and selling those bonds for the purposes of collecting those funds to do those projects. We're asking approval of resolution 2534. And if there's any questions or am I misspoke or need correction, Tom's also here to, where'd he go? Okay, there he is.
Hiding.
So,
Okay. Questions for Keith?
Motion to adopt resolution 2534.
Chad? Thanks, Jim. We have motion and we have support to adopt resolution 2534. Any final questions? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carried. Number 24, a letter from Keith regarding 2025 micro surfacing street bid award.
thank you, Your Honor, Council. It's that time of year. Have a couple different project-related requests for you. The first of which is micro surfacing. That's the process. It's a preventative maintenance application. Think of it as like a thick seal coating to roads that we conducted last year on a number of roads. It's preventative in that it's meant to extend the life of otherwise good condition roads from deteriorating further and extending the life of those roads. And the project this year is scheduled, the primary road that would be addressed would be North Michigan Avenue. That was repaved a number of years ago, but now it's starting to show some wear. And we would do Michigan Avenue and a handful of other streets as laid out in the memo. There are only 2 companies that are state certified in the state of Michigan through MDOT. And there is a limited window in which this type of process can be used because of temperature and weather. And so we sought public bids, went through our engineering firm. We only received the 1 bid. This is the company that we used last year and had a satisfactory result. And so we're seeking approval of resolution 25-29 to facilitate this project in the amount of $208,892.60.
Keith, how long does the traffic have to be off it once it's put down? Approximately.
It's just a few,
Hour.
hour or 2, yeah.
2
I
hours.
forget what the,
Reasonably fast.
yes, it was.
It's not like.
I know there's one track on Grand Street from last year, but somebody drove across it, but yes, it's relatively short.
Yeah. That bid for the amount, for the square feet, did that number seem to jive? Seeing we only got 1 bid.
Yes.
Did that seem to jive with what we paid last year?
Yes. The engineer is recommending that approval. They reviewed the bid. They provided a letter themselves. We've had a good experience with them previously, so.
Okay, they're asking us to adopt resolution 2529.
Move to
Randall,
approve.
thank you.
Support.
Thank you, Michael. We have motion and we have support for the micro servicing bid. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Number 25, letter from Keith regarding North Clay Street reconstruction. Keith? Ooh.
So this is for the MDOT contract. So the city received a grant in the amount of $385,000 through the Michigan Department of Transportation, Surface Transportation Program, and to assist with the reconstruction of North Clay Street between Grand Street and Waterman. And so this is, MDOT conducted the bidding, and this is seeking our approval of the contract to award that bid. The project, just to give a little bit more context, you'll see another bid award come forward to you at the next meeting. We've broken this project up into two projects, one that was covered by the state grant or partially covered by the state grant, and one that's a local project. And so this project is intended to be completed during the summer between, hopefully, after school lets out and before school starts, to be as minimally impactful to Larson Elementary as possible, because this work will take place between Grand and Waterman and will be the full reconstruction of North Clay. And then we'll have a later project, once that's near completion or completed, that will take some water main and road reconstruction further south down to Harrison Street. So this would authorize a contract with MDOT 25-5211 in the amount of $1,187,570. And then you see a breakdown then between what the city's contribution is, what the BPU contribution is, because there is water and sewer improvements as well, and net of a grant that the city is receiving from the state of Michigan.
Are they gonna bury power lines when they tear that up?
All walk out.
I think he's gonna.
There's plans, well, they're discussing that. I guess I don't want to, I know they're getting estimates and they're looking at the potential for that. But I don't think there's been a final decision at the board level for that yet.
And the bids will be handled by MDOT?
In this case, they did, contractor escapes me at the moment, the name of the contractor, but they did conduct the bids.
Okay.
They got, and they awarded the project and they're MDOT certified. And so with this, we have less involvement other than they oversee the contract from that point forward.
And the 400,000 is coming from our local streets?
So yes, so our contribution would be 461,800.
That's about basically 2 blocks of Grand, or does that include doing farther, just to water?
Includes, well, some of that also includes, for our contribution, it's also storm sewer, curb gutter, sidewalk, drive approaches. So with North Clay, it'll be a full reconstruction. So much more extensive.
Yep. Roads are expensive.
More expensive.
Question for Keith, comments, big project.
No. I nailed a manhole cover the other day that would give a pothole a good run for its money. So I'm in favor of it. I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 25-33 and the approval of agreement A 25-12.
Okay.
Support.
Support by Jim. Motion by John. Okay, we have motion, we have support. Any other questions, comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. And finally, a memo from Shauna regarding proposed cemetery fees. Shauna?
I'm not gonna take up too much of your time or reread the letter. It was in the packet, but in a nutshell, in 2024, we had purchased, council agreed to purchase a new vault setter machine, and that has arrived. We used to have one back in 2022, but it was taken out of commission, wasn't safe to use. 2024, we approved the purchase of one. They have done some studying of how much we should charge to set and seal, and we came up with $200. So we would like to add that vault setting back into our cemetery fees in the amount of $200, and then sealing it, the vault will be $125. We would also like to add
increase the amount of the chapel, using the chapel with the burial. It currently is $100. We want to increase that with $300. The chapel has undergone extensive, a lot of you saw construction, and it is very nice to use. So with that and the maintenance of it, we'd like to increase that from $100 to $300 for usage. And then we would like to remove, because council also back in September, during the meeting of September 2024, council decided we didn't want to let the chapel be used for anything other than burials, because people were wanting to use it for weddings and other events.
Bathrooms.
And there's no bathrooms, and we also didn't want a wedding taking a place instead of a funeral where people should be mourning their loved ones. So we took that out. That's no longer an option. And then setting up the tent, we would like to increase it from $150 to $200. And that's just the amount of time that it takes the guys to set the tent up and take it down.
Comparable to other
Yes.
charges in the
Yeah,
area.
other municipalities.
That puts us in line with everybody else.
There you go.
Right here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And comparable to what
So-
people were paying other, so currently either we or the funeral home has to,
Schedule that and using, I mean,
The
we approved the
contract.
purchase of us to be able to set it, so really, we should be approving this fee increase. But when we had to depend on the funeral homes to come and set vaults, sometimes they didn't have, that's what they do all day. They go to different cemeteries and they're setting vaults, so sometimes they would go set the vault and then they wouldn't come back for a couple of hours or maybe even the rest of the day. So that made our guys have to try to work double time and work with their schedule. So it's convenient that we're able to set and seal our own vaults.
I mean, the price, like, if you were to have these services in Hillsdale, Sturgis, Marshall, we are comparable.
Yes,
staff did a review of other communities
Okay.
and cemeteries and what funeral homes are charging when these services are not available.
in places like Jackson, that is over $1,200.
Motion to adopt resolution 2514.
Support.
A motion from Chad and support from Jim, I believe.
Yep.
Any final questions? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. We have a last spot on our agenda for public comments. If anyone would like to address the council, they may do so now. Audrey?
Thank you. I am hot off the heels of the Main Street Now conference. And a funny quote that was stuck with me from that is that fear of public speaking is fear of death twice removed or once removed. A person's willingness to share their thoughts and perspectives in a public setting is a core privilege and responsibility of government. And that willingness should be celebrated and encouraged because it is intimidating and difficult. So I did miss the beginning of this meeting, and I just wanted to take time to thank those who may have attended tonight or wrote letters in support of projects, opinions and preferences that matter to them in their community, whether that relates to downtown or another area of importance. I also look forward to having ample time to connect with those who may have been here with an interest in downtown streetscape, so that they can fully engage in those critical conversations and decisions around that budget. Yeah, so again, I missed the beginning, so I wanted to say thank you. I know public speaking is hard. I know lots of people have been tossing their hat out there with their ideas about how to make our community better, and I just appreciate the work that goes into that. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments at this time? Any new unfinished business at our level? Any new business at council level? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.